Hello, this is Pastor Jacob with Word of Christian Faith Center. We are live here at our new facilities here in Kyle, Texas, and we just want to welcome all those by internet to our Wisdom from the Word. And we have been talking for the last couple of weeks about the life of leadership. And I believe leadership is very important. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything we do is about building up our leaders so we can do a great thing for God. And we have a special guest today. Not only is he my son twice, Minister John Troy Jacobs. He's here. He's one of our ministers here. And he's here to be a guest on our session today. And we thank God for him. Tell us a little about yourself, Brother John.
Well, Dad, Pastor, I'm excited to be here on the Wisdom Word, and I'm excited about this series. I know it's going to be blessing or have blessed you on the series that you watch. Well, my name is John Jacobs, Minister Jacobs, whatever you want to call or say. I'm a minister here at the Word of Life Christian Faith Center. I am director over fine arts, music and fine arts, so the media ministry and the movement ministry at the church and the voices. And so my passion is developing leaders, but in the area of minstrels, being musicians and being great leaders of worship. So that's my task, and God has told me to do those things, and I'm doing it, trying to do it in excellence and with a spirit of humility as well. So I'm excited about what God's doing in Kyle and through our music and fine arts department.
One thing I said about Minister Troy, he's been faithful to our ministry, doing an outstanding job with every department. You know, I came up with a new word that he's in charge of formation and facilitator, which he's doing an excellent job in helping us in that area. And really, that's part of leadership. One of the things that I have gained from when I look at leadership itself, one of my main mentors that I get a lot of information from is John Maxwell. One of the things that John Maxwell said about transformational leadership is really about influencing people in the area of their thinking, their speaking, and their acting. So I think what happens so many times that leadership needs to first affect a person's thinking. And once it affects their thinking, then it affects their speaking. Because, you know, the Bible tells us, you know, that as a man thinketh, so is he. You know, and then from the thinking to the speaking, and then for the acting. Because leadership is a process, you know. So it's about influencing people in the area of their thinking, their behavior, and also what they're saying. What are you speaking? Out of abundance of the heart, the mouth speak. So I think that's why we talk a lot about it, leadership. This life of leader has been so important. And then the other day I was reading about authentic leadership. Authentic leadership is takes you to another level. Authentic leadership gets to the truth. Because people, sometimes they're not authentic. They're not real. And so you have to go where people are. If you want to be an effective leader, you have to go where people are. And it has to include your life. You know, one of the things we talked about this morning in our ministers class we had was about when leadership characteristics, first it starts personal. You know, if you have a personal problem, it's going to affect your leadership problem.
Absolutely.
And so we talked about that this morning about leadership. Now you are doing a lot of study on leadership and over student life development leadership. What are some of the key areas of leadership that you think is so important, especially with young people at your age trying to be leaders and taking this to the next generation?
Well, I want to thank my dad because he's been talking about leadership for years now, and it's kind of rubbed on me. I recently, in 2011, got my master's in leadership, so it's kind of rubbed off on me. I'm kind of the second person grabbing the baton and talking about leadership. But that relates to working outside the church and leadership and inside church. You're absolutely right. It starts with the thinking, and a lot of people think of leadership, and as you look at the world today, leadership has been dummied down. It's been it's not looking the way it used to have looked. It's not traditional, and so we've got to be able as leaders to look at other people and reshape it,
Right.
and charge their thinking and let them know, hey, this is what leadership is. Leadership is modeling the way.
Right.
Leadership is love. Leadership is support. It's
Right.
not telling you what to do and not saying do something that you wouldn't do, but leading by example. And so
Right.
I think the main thing is we got to live the life of leadership these
Right.
days. It's
Right.
not just speaking.
Right.
On your job, at church, you have to live the life of leadership, and that's what God's people is calling for. They're looking for an example.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
looking for, as you
No
would say,
doubt.
a model.
Right. I was
of
going to say
leadership.
that's a good point right there, because I think as young people, I said so many often, young people have been hurt about the pattern
Yes.
they're seeing in front of them. So in order to move forward, in order to transition their perspective, got to be a model.
Absolutely.
So the one that's in leadership now has to model it, and the one who's coming aboard has to model it too. But they're saying we need something to go by so we can know what it is, because people have changed. It's a whole process of leadership now that's really changing. That's why I think the transformational leadership, the authentic leadership, and so many people that you find in the church that about the levels of leadership. So many people grabbing for that position and think that's going to help them to be a better leader. Your position does not make you a leader. And so consequently, we move from position to position and never gain any other level of leadership. So that's why I say it has to be a life. Otherwise, it has to incorporate your life, and you have to look at it more than just a position. Because if you cannot influence people, if nobody's following you, you're not productive, you're not getting results, and then basically if you have nobody to even care, then basically you're not really a leader. So you have to model that in order for it to be productive, in your life first, and then in the life of people who follow you.
Yeah, and to be quite honest and transparent, modeling the way is not always easy.
Right.
Yeah. It's a hard task to be a leader and have to watch what you do and watch what you say and what you present and model the way. It is difficult, but sometimes when God tells you to do something, it's difficult. Sometimes when God puts you in an assignment, it's difficult. But yes, you're right. As our generation, we need leaders that would walk in integrity and just be a model and say, my life will be an example, and I just got to walk it out so other people can walk as well. As you preached this morning about footsteps, that your testimony, your life becomes a footstep, and I can see your footsteps and I can walk in those. And that's what our generation needs, is people who are walking it out, and we can say, okay, they took left, they took a right, and because of that, this is what produced, and we can walk that out.
As you was talking, I was thinking in terms of, I was thinking about transformational leadership. Then I found authentic leadership. And what you were saying right there, the struggle of modeling is because we're not authentic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the trouble with modeling. If it's a trouble with modeling, then we're pretending we're something we're not.
That's true.
So if you're authentic, if you be real and be right and be true, then it's not that hard.
Yep.
It's not that hard. You just live who you are.
Absolutely.
So we're going back to what you said, integrity. Integrity, character.
Yeah.
If you can live who you are, being transparent, that makes you a greater leader.
Absolutely.
Because people are not confused with a model. When you have a model of something, everything else is going to look just like that.
Exactly.
When Henry Ford built the first car, that's why he called it a Model T.
Yeah.
He wanted everything else.
Absolutely.
He wanted everything else to be just like
Just
that.
like it.
And he said, you get any style you want as long as it's black.
Exactly.
So he had a model. The one thing that he wanted, a model, because he wanted all the rest of them to be like that.
Exactly.
And so I think what it is, when you combine the transition leadership, when you combine the authentic leadership, it's really talking going back to being real, being integrity, being who you are. So it goes back to really working on those personal things that you need to work on, so you can really be an effective leader.
And that conversation transitions even into the leadership in the worship area.
Right.
The Bible says those who come to God must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Right.
So even when you worship God, you got to worship in an authentic way. You can't come to God with an agenda if you're trying to really worship him.
Right.
And so it crosses into church. If you have praise and worship leaders are watching this, or people who love to sing, the first thing is, find where you can be authentic in worship, where you can be vulnerable, where you can be transparent, where God can see you and you can see God, and that's where God can really work through and break chains, if you might, if I may say, and that's what God is calling for. Is calling for leaders in worship, leaders out there to be true, be authentic in every way, because God is saying, if you do it in spirit and in truth, there's gonna be some kind of benefit. God's spirit will be there.
Right.
So truth is very important.
Yeah, because one thing I always says is that you cannot argue with results.
Absolutely.
You cannot argue with
The tree
results.
is
You
known
can't,
by the
right,
fruits
right.
thereof.
I even talking about it, and that's what I think we have to work on. And once you work on those authentic things, those things that are true, then leadership becomes easy because that's who you are.
Absolutely.
You're a person of leader. You're a leader, a person of leadership. I think that's why I chose this subject for the whole month, because I did a lot of work on leadership. I did, it wasn't me just saying it. I did a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of working on me to become a leader in order, because in that area of John Maxwell talks about the law of the lid. If I want to raise the leadership of my people, then I have to raise my own leadership, my ability to strengthen myself. Well, otherwise, it's a lid. I'm only going to go as high as my own leadership ability. I'm going to be effective as high or results-wise as my own self. So I have to work on my own self in order for me to raise that level. And so it is with authentic leadership. Until you really be honest and true with the people you're over, your employees, or people under you, until you become authentic and real with that, you're going to struggle.
Absolutely.
Because they don't know. You come in on Monday, and they say, hey, you Mr. So-and-so. You come in on Tuesday, they wonder, who is this?
Yes.
Because they're confused in the process. And so I think that authentic leadership eliminates all those points of confusion and be real. So that's what. I just want to thank God again for my son that's being here on today, and thank God for the audience that came and hung out with us until we did this taping, and just being a part of what God is doing. So I'm excited about this series of wisdom from the Word that God has blessed us with, and we're praying that you out there that watching us, listen to that we've said some things that might help you. That might raise your level of leadership. That maybe perhaps you thought just by being in a position going to make you a better leader. But until you become real, until you work on your personal integrity, then you're going to constantly have a problem with leadership. So we're praying and hoping that you will come back and tune in us every week or every chance you can. And really, on the left there's a button that says donate. And if you want to support this ministry anyway, we would love to receive whatever. You might not be a tither. You want to support a ministry that you know is going to make a difference in people's lives. And that is wisdom from the Word. My people, the Bible said, my people perish for lack of wisdom. If any man that desire wisdom, let him ask of God. So we thank you again. This is Pastor James J., the Word of Life Christian Faith Center. Thank you again for watching Wisdom from the Word.